Hi, I'm Jim Meyer. I'm a retired pastor in the ELCA, the Lutheran Church in America. In our collection of stories in times long ago, I'd like to tell you the story entitled My Mother the Cook by James P. Meyer. And this is Hazel's story. My mother worked as a cook in a lumber camp. There was a lot of hard work for Mother, so I'd help her. She did all the baking of the pies and breads. There were other cooks too, but often they would go on a drunk and Mother and I would end up doing all the cooking for 65 men. My mother's bread was best. The other breads, why, they were sour and nobody would eat the other cook's bread. But when Mother cooked hers, the men ate all 9 loaves. They were hearty men. A quarter of beef lasted 2 meals. To keep the kitchen stocked, Mother and I had to do a lot of heavy lifting. Each night after cleanup, I'd have to fill the syrup bottles and also take the syrup from the big barrel of syrup. Each morning we had to prepare pancakes for the men. Well, when we got to work one morning, we discovered the plug had popped out of the barrel of syrup in the night, and syrup was spilled all over the floor. We had to clean it up fast because soon at 6 a.m. the men would be coming in for breakfast. We had to work really fast and hard with soap and hot water. But we made it, and we got done in time to serve the men. Most of my chores were to clean tables, wash dishes, fill the condiments, and take care of the lamps. I had to fill the lamps with kerosene, clean their chimneys, and trim the wicks. I also swept and scrubbed the floors. I worked with Mother until I was 17 years old. At 18 years old, I got married, and my husband and I ran a general store. You know, I'll never forget Mother and her cooking at the lumber camp, and I surely won't forget the syrup. The end. I wonder who you identified with in this story. I wonder what it would be like to see and understand your parents' work. I wonder what it would be like to cook and serve 65 hungry men for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I wonder what Mother's bread tasted like. I wonder if you've ever had sour bread. I wonder if reputation is important. I wonder if Mother had to bake 9 loaves of bread for each meal. I wonder if Hazel minded filling the sticky syrup bottles and the smelly kerosene lamps. I wonder what Hazel and her mother's first reaction was when they found and saw the pool of sticky syrup on the floor. I wonder if any other cooks helped in cleaning up, or was it just Mother and Hazel? I wonder if the men came in and the women were still cleaning up, what their reaction would be. I wonder if the management would be forgiving in making the men late for their shift. I wonder if the cook shack made way for Hazel for the discipline of running a general store. I wonder where you are in this story. And now, family room reflection. The apostle said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you could say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your slave who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here at once and take your place at the table'? Would you not rather say to him, 'Prepare supper for me, put on your apron, and serve me while I eat and drink? Later you may eat and drink'? Do you thank the slave for doing what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you were ordered to do, say, 'We are worthless slaves, we've done only what we ought to have done.'" From Luke chapter 17, verse 5 through 10. And now our recollections. Where does faith come in with the story of the cook shack? In many disastrous failings, does human nature want extra power to overcome the difficulty, to make it right? The apostles wanted increased faith, thinking life would be simpler. Jesus tells them that their faith inside of them is being overlooked. If we have such power, they would still be the same. For no matter how the work got done, it was still work that had to be completed. So why ask for praise for what we ought to do anyway? In a society of instant gratification, we often talk of our exploits in doing our work or in cleaning up a catastrophe, and that's okay. But if we look for praise, what's in that? I remember hearing about a person recently who drowned, and yet professional help was nearby and watched. Because of the bottom line economics, the firemen were ordered not to help. Can we live like this? Is the bottom line our God? Could Hazel and her mother just thrown up their hands and waited for everyone to come and see the mess and delay the whole day's work? No, they got busy to take care of what was at hand, and the extra work was not compensated for other than they did their work at keeping the place clean and on time. It is enough for us to live the faith and realize taking the extra steps bring more faith. Matthew Henry, a renowned theologian, wrote, quote, "Faith in God's pardoning mercy will enable us to get over the greatest difficulties in the way of forgiving our brethren. As with God nothing is impossible, so all things are possible to him that can believe." Our Lord showed his disciples their need for deep humility. Unquote. Where are you in this story?